They are lying to us about AI, and especially AI music. And to be honest with you, they have to at this point. I'm going to show you a lie that was so big and ridiculous that even Timbaland reached out on one of my videos and confirmed that it was in fact a lie. Timbaland, the guy that's traditionally incredibly pro AI music. In my opinion, a lot of these AI companies are becoming desperate, and they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to advertise and to hire influencers. People that you would never know are getting paid to promote AI just to convince us to use their platforms because they're afraid that they're going to fail. Why are they scared? Because they're seeing the backlash. Pew Research did a study, and look at these results. Look at these answers from the average American just a few months ago. Americans are much more concerned than excited about the increased use of AI. Americans feel strongly that AI should be labeled. Half of the Americans who were interviewed, and this is Pew Research, this isn't like they asked 100 people. They said about half say AI will worsen people's ability to think creatively and form meaningful relationships. I could have guessed that. 57% rate the societal risks of AI as high. All right, but what about music? Universal Music Group, who has invested a lot of money in AI, developing different AI platforms over the years. We've covered many of them, including their partnership with Udio, but certainly not just that one company. Universal Music Group also did a study of 28,000 consumers across 13 countries. Similar results. 76% of listeners demand clear AI-generated labeling. 67% want the ability to filter out music completely. These aren't artists. These aren't people like me. These are consumers, music consumers that don't want this. And so it's no wonder that CNBC is reporting Google and Microsoft offer lucrative deals to promote AI, but even $500,000 won't sway some creators. That's crazy. There's a lot of money being thrown around here. Just in the first half of 2024, these companies spent $107 million on marketing AI-related products. That number has gone way up. I mean, Gemini by itself, $81.7 million. OpenAI, $64.9 million. They're spending a lot of money. And Suno just reported that they are valued at $4.5 billion. So if you think they don't have a crazy ads budget, especially for smaller influencers, people like me, I'll show you what I mean. This is my inbox. It's a mess, I'm sorry, but when I search for this one particular AI platform, Music Creator AI, these are all advertising inquiries. They're trying to give me money. One company, I'll search for another company. I've covered Mareka before. Look at all this stuff. Paid collab with Mareka, paid YouTube, all these different accounts are trying to get me to spend, and I even showed you OpenBeat AI, which I had a huge problem with. Worst situation, I think, ever of my YouTube career. They came back and offered me $1,000 to promote Sampler. Now, this is the backdrop. People think that all their favorite producers and their favorite filmmakers and their favorite creators in general are just organically using AI and then promoting it out of the goodness of their hearts. Come on. So here's a video by Flossie the Boss, who's been in the music business for a long time. He is covering the so-called $50 million AI artist deal. The crazy thing about this story is we already know this whole deal is bullshit. And if you don't believe me because I'm biased, here's Timbaland. And you can't tell me Timbaland has an anti-AI bias. This is him commenting on my video. He says, it was cap. It's part of Higgsfield marketing at the time, was like 2 years ago. Thank you, Timbaland. That's the truth. A company named Higgsfield created an artist, not a K-pop group, but a K-pop artist named Keon, and then signed her to a label that they just created. And I don't know why I'm even saying her. They signed their AI creation to a label that received $50 million in funding, and then convinced everybody that somehow they got an artist that doesn't exist a $50 million record deal, which also doesn't exist. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe this is so amazing. This is organic. This is the future. I wonder why he's reporting on this. I wonder, is he just a paid partner and he's just not disclosing it? Is he just misinformed? What's going on? I've seen his content for a while. Let's just watch this.
Official and AI K-pop group gets signed for a $50 million deal. Now, I've been telling you that AI is here, and what you do with it will dictate your future in this music business.
Jesus Christ. All right, already, I don't want to keep pausing this, but come on, man. Why are you just accepting this and reporting it as fact and trying to convince us that this is true? Why do so many talking heads for the music business parrot the same talking points?
We could all complain, but no one cares. When Steve Jobs at Apple eliminated
No one cares, huh? I mean, I just showed the polling.
eliminated the CD and started offering songs for 99 cents, we had to adapt. Once we adapted, Spotify replaced the 99-cent download with the 0.003-cent streaming platform. We had to adapt. And now we're faced with yet another obstacle: artificial intelligence.
You notice how every time he says we had to adapt, things got worse for us? Things got worse for us when we transitioned from the CD to the 99-cent download. They got even worse for us when we transitioned into streaming with these low-ass rates. Then it got even worse for us when those rates got even lower when Spotify implemented a 1,000 stream minimum to even get paid that low rate. And it's just getting worse with AI now. And so somehow he's presenting this as a good thing. Like, you got to keep adapting, just keep adapting. At one point, do we stop adapting because we see that every time we adapt to these corporations that don't give a fuck about us, we lose more and more every time. I mean, I'm glad he said it. I don't think he intentionally, maybe he is. Maybe this is just like subliminal messaging for artists, but god damn.
Music, so we have to adapt. Now the post I share,
and we don't have to do shit. That's the thing that everyone doesn't understand. We don't have to do shit. There are still people who are making beats on ASR 10s and they are still getting placements with, your favorite artists. They're not even using DAWs.
So now we have a K-pop group that isn't human. And
it's not a group.
one of the biggest entertainment companies in Korea is signing this AI group for 50.
Hold on. What he said, one of the biggest entertainment groups in Korea is signing? No. Kyon is signed to Higgsfield Records, an AI operated record label launched by San Francisco-based AI entertainment company Higgsfield. So it's just, I don't know who gave him this information, but he's spreading it to us as though it's fact, and it's not fact.
$50 million. Let me break
And why? Why is that?
it down.
The artist goes by Kion.
They look real, they sing, they dance, they even do interviews, but they're not real.
Now this artist
Was created by Metaverse Entertainment, and instead of scouting for artists and having A&Rs develop artists for years, they just literally built a girl group from codes and prompts on a computer. Now, the really big question is, how is this K-pop worth $50 million? So here's where that $50 million figure comes into play. You see, this isn't like making a song on Suno or Udio. They made real-life humans like characters. They invested over $50 million into developing the animation system.
That's where the 50 million comes from. They invested 50 million. So he's telling the truth now. It's just,
So instead of signing a superstar, they just manufactured one. So why is the entire music industry paying close attention to this? An AI artist doesn't get tired. They don't get sick, and they don't get old. They don't complain about the royalties, and they can perform in any language, anywhere in the world. So it's more than just an artist. This is intellectual property with unlimited scalability.
it's creating a robot that you can enslave. I mean, you heard what he said. It's sick.
The group has already charted on real platforms.
No, it hasn't. Name one.
They have real fans.
Nope.
They do real performances, and they go viral. Now you might be thinking,
They don't go viral. Let's go back. Well, this isn't actually them. I don't know who this is. If we search for them on Spotify, they're not actually there. They're even hard to find on YouTube when I search for their name. There we go. Okay. Yeah, their highest viewed video is, this is bad. 90,000. I mean, I have boring ass videos about PRO registration that have more than 90,000 views on YouTube.
to yourself, well, they're fake. They're not human. Well, I got news for you. I've been trying to tell artists this for years. This is the music business, with the focus always being on the business. In the last 10 years, hundreds of artists have reached out to me asking me if I'd pitch them to major labels because their music is so amazing. Trust me when I tell you, and it's sad to say, but record labels haven't been signing artists because they have a great song. They are only signing artists if they know they can make money with that artist.
But that's how it's always been. Now, having said that, I just showed you the numbers of this K-pop artist, this fake AI K-pop artist, whatever. These numbers do not justify $50, let alone 50 million.
An amazing song is subjective, and it doesn't guarantee that you'll make any money at all. The only way a label will sign an artist is if they know that artist will make them money. Well, how do they know? Because they are only signing artists that are already making money. So if I reach out to any of my major label friends, the only question they're going to ask me is this. It's simple. The question they're going to ask me is, how much money per month is that artist making from their streams? This is exactly why you hear me saying,
Right. Okay. So I agree with what he's saying, but Kion isn't even making money off streams because they're not on the streaming platforms. This is what I mean. People see shit like this and they don't question it, because the second they start questioning it, it all falls apart. It's a house of cards.
because a label will only sign you if you're making money. And if you're making money, you don't need a label. Well, you might be thinking, well, I need the big machine. I got news for you. They ain't got the machine anymore. They source out their work. They hire people that don't work for them to do the marketing, the promotion, the press, the production, etc.
I think he's losing the plot because I don't know what this has to do with this so-called $50 million deal that doesn't exist. I guess what he's saying is just, don't resist, just adapt to AI. But let's be real. Resistance is human. Humans always resist. A mosquito lands on them, they resist. I'm an American. My country is embroiled in resistance. It was built off of resistance. Problematic as it is, people love to celebrate the 4th of July. What is that if not a celebration of resistance? So if your rallying cry is you can't win, just give up, stop resisting, you are teaching people to be cowards. You are teaching people to be losers. I'm not telling you have to adapt to AI. You know my situation with AI. I'm a very vocal critic of it. I also have my own AI model. Isn't that hypocritical, Payne? The sad part is, even when I explain the difference, and I think these are very clear differences, even if I explain the difference between a company such as Suno stealing hundreds of millions of pieces of intellectual property and then training a model and then selling it back to us, and what I did, which was partner with a company where I trained it 100% off of my data consensually. I know AI bros don't like that word consent. When I train it consensually and get equity, and it's a local app, it's not running off of a data center that's polluting the water, people are still like, I don't see the difference. I still feel like it's hypocritical. So why even talk to those folks? It's like explaining to a toddler why they can't eat a Snickers for dinner. But hey, if AI disappeared tomorrow, including my model, and we went back to where things were in 2016, I would sleep just fine. Every classic album I love and every big platinum album or hit song that I ever produced, I did before these tools were available. I don't know why people rally around a guy that would say some shit like this.
It's not really enjoyable to make music now. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of practice. You need to get really good at an instrument or really good at a piece of production software. I think the majority of people don't enjoy the majority of the time they spend making music.
I don't understand how there is an army of AI fangirls defending that guy. He should be upside down in a trash can at a high school right now. Alleged incestuous pedophile Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, said, I think AI will probably most likely sort of lead to... Jesus Christ, he's inarticulate. I think AI will probably most likely sort of lead to the end of the world. But in the meantime, there will be great companies. Even pregnant refrigerator-looking Elon Musk had this to say about AI. The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot. No wonder they're spending so much money on trying to convince us that we should all adopt this technology and love doing so, especially when we have shit like this. CBS News says AI will affect more than half of U.S. jobs, an analysis found. And this is by Boston Consulting Group. There's also a Senate report. Here's a U.S. Senate report that shows AI could replace nearly 100 million U.S. jobs. How many jobs are there in the United States, you might ask? Well, 162.77 million. So this is more than half of all U.S. jobs. This is a less scary but still kind of terrifying estimate from National University, 30% of all U.S. jobs. So what do? They continue to pay creatives to use their software, promote their software, or they give them roles in their companies, or all of the above in the case of Martin Scorsese. And a lot of people are running in the film community to this story and saying, oh my God, it's over. Hollywood is cooked. How can you hate AI if someone as great as Martin Scorsese is promoting it and using it? If nothing else, develop some critical thinking, because without critical thinking, you become a follower to these corporations who are creating some of the most low effort propaganda I've ever seen in my life, but people are buying it probably because AI is in fact making us stupid at a quicker rate than I ever thought possible. But as you can see, it says Martin Scorsese is an advisor to Black Forest Labs, who's actually tweeting this, Black Forest Labs. So people are just looking at this as though this is some amazing organic adoption of AI by a great filmmaker. Realistically, how much do you think they're paying this guy? Have some critical thought, or don't. If you're just gonna blindly, because I think honestly what a lot of pro AI people really want is just to feel like they're a part of the winning team. They don't care which team it is. They don't care if they lose in the end, but as long as they're here for the ascent of AI and they can feel adjacent to the power of these technocrats, they're going to join the team, which is kind of like saying we won the Super Bowl when your fat ass was sitting at home eating chips all day just because you're wearing that team's jersey. I also think it comes from a place of hate and resentment. For example, I saw this the other day: AI is going to kill y'all YouTube type beat producers, and I can't wait. Why someone would be happy about thousands of creatives losing their livelihoods, I don't know, but I think it comes from a place of resentment. I placed myself above the two slurs, but this is what happens whenever I tweet criticisms towards AI. I'm sorry, I don't think these are good people. So adapt to AI, embrace AI, straddle the fence, dip your toes in, resist, whatever you want to do. If just some of you who are on the fence develop a bit of critical thought with the information that I'm showing you, and you start making these connections, who knows what can happen next. I'm trying to stay positive and hopeful that all critical thinking has not been lost, because when it is lost, that makes us more vulnerable and as weak as we could ever possibly be. We don't want that. Much success to you. Hopefully you don't get replaced by some pedophile CEO's technology, and I appreciate you watching. Peace.